projects and also line of credit. So this continuity in this engagement for Mauritius now, well, we talk about 2024 and 2025, the Indian Ocean rubric and the way India is being looked up to as the leading voice in the global South region. From 2016 to 2025, the world has changed immensely.
And in that dynamic international order, Prime Minister's visit is an effort to keep the India-Mauritius relationship on even keel and not let it totter in choppy waters. I think that is really the purpose of this visit. And now, if you look at strategically, Prime Minister used the 2015 visit to Mauritius to announce Sagar. Now that is our policy for the Indian Ocean. And that Sagar has held us in good stead. So we have contributed much more to Mauritius and the other areas in the Indian Ocean through the Sagar doctrine. You are aware that Mauritius also hosts the headquarters of the Indian Ocean Rim Association, where currently an Indian officer is the Secretary General.
Okay.
So we are working with them strategically to have, non-traditional threats in the region adequately catered to. What has been important in IORA is that in the last 2 years, they have also enunciated an Indo-Pacific outlook, which integrates them into India's Indo-Pacific policy.
Okay.
Now, if you come to the bilateral part, and you mentioned it, when I was Joint Secretary Africa, Mauritius, despite its economic success, was very reluctant to borrow. They wanted everything as a grant.
Okay.
And we used to find that very difficult because Mauritius GDP compared to India was huge. And their rating was at a level that you could not compare them with the LDCs of Africa. So we had to tell them that, see, you have to borrow as per your rating, but they wanted everything as a grant.
But the country has come a long way. That aspect, I'm sorry I'm interrupting you here, Ambassador Gurjeet, gateway to the African continent for India. If I can just quickly go across to Samir Bhattacharya and have a quick comment from him as well on this significance for India here, because we've spoken on the Indian Ocean region ecosystem, but the gateway to the African continent, this is important for India.
Yes, so see, first of all, the Indian Ocean region, the security of Indian Ocean region has been very important. Last year, India inaugurated, Prime Minister Modi virtually inaugurated airstrip and in the Agalega island of Mauritius. Then this visit, you also have to understand in the larger geopolitical context. The Chagos Island, the sovereignty of Chagos Island was awarded to Mauritius. It was just last year only, but then since the government in Mauritius changed, now the government in US has changed, so they might want to go back and look at the different provisions. So the presence of India as an objective, as a neutral partner, it is going to be very helpful in clinching, win-win deal. And also, I would join Ambassador Gurjeet Singh in, to tell that this capacity building, it has always been our main pillar. So this time around, also we are going to, Prime Minister Modi is going to inaugurate information center for weather forecasting. There will be a health center that is going to be inaugurated. India is also going to train 500 Mauritian civil servants over next 5 years. So this capacity building is another thing. So our partnership with Mauritius, it is an all-round partnership. And during this trip, and also one more thing about this defense partnership, India is this time again, India is going to, this apart from this contingent, India just donated 2 FICs to Mauritius Coast Guard. India earlier also donated FICs. So our the defense partnership is security partnership in that region is also growing strong. So overall, this trip, this visit is to establish India as a as our MEA, also like to call it as a net security provider. So it is kind of a message from India that we are here as a net security provider for the region. Not only our relationship with bilateral relationship with Mauritius is going to be, it's always there, it's always improving, but this trip also carries a message that we are here for the region.
Yeah, that point as India being seen, Ambassador Gurjeet, the net security provider at the current juncture, now geopolitically speaking, that's a very, very important point, sir. Your take, the point that has been raised by Samir Bhattacharya. The security aspect.
Indeed, India is a net security provider in real terms. The issue now is that we are taking that security provision beyond Mauritius into the Indian Ocean littoral of Africa. So that is why the importance of the Agalega facility, because that is a considerable distance from Mauritius, but it is very well placed, and that is from where we could support Mozambique, Kenya, Tanzania, Madagascar. So if you see, whenever there is a cyclone or a big strike, Indian naval ships are very quick to the rescue in all these regions. And that is because I think we are well supplied, we are there, and we are now ready to use the Agalega facilities to provide that net security which Samir talks about in that region. But I want to go back to what you asked about the Mauritius as a window to Africa.
African continents, yes.
Yes. Now, Mauritius has been talking about this a very long time, mainly to justify the old double taxation avoidance agreement, saying Indian companies come here and then they can invest in Africa. But that never really happened. Indian companies did not need Mauritius to invest in Africa. They have enough ways to go into Africa. When I did research for my book, The Harambe Factor, no Indian company said Mauritius was their primary aim. They all said whichever country in Africa was their primary aim. Secondly, when the DTA went out and now we have a SIPA, so those facilities are less, but yes, there are many diaspora companies out of Africa who have opened offices and funds in Mauritius. So the reverse is happening, that African companies are looking at Mauritius as a stable window. So there certainly Mauritius' high ranking and financial stability play a big role. But Mauritius struggles to have its African identity asserted.
Okay.
Recently there was an election to the chairperson of the African Union Commission, and Mauritius under the old government had actually put up the former foreign minister Anil Gayan. But when the government changed, they actually withdrew. But they wouldn't have won. It's because they are geographically in Africa, but their heart is with India. And that is why even in MEA today, Mauritius is not dealt anymore by the Africa division. It is dealt with by the Indian Ocean division.
All right. We take a short break here. Ambassador Gurjeet Singh and Samir Bhattacharya requesting you to stay with us. We slip into a short break. Our rolling coverage on India-Mauritius strengthening ties continues on DD India. Stay with us.
Welcome to Mahabalipuram, a coastal town full of delight, where history, art and natural beauty unite. Explore this sacred ground, where spirituality and divinity are closely bound. Stroll along the sandy shore, where sunsets leave you wanting for more. Wander through the Panchrathas, monuments of might, carved in stone, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Let the rock-cut caves transport you in time, where legends and myths intertwine. Immerse yourself in culture art, where music and dance captivate every heart. So visit Mahabalipuram. Let its magic unfold, where the ancient stories never grow old. Take in the richness of its hue. Let the spirit leave a lasting impression on you. Welcome to Mahabalipuram.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Embark on a timeless journey. Unravel the mysteries of a grandiose era. A treasure trove of royal and sacred complexes, temples, shrines, pillared halls, mandapas, rock-cut memorials and more.
Thanks for staying with us on DD India. You're watching rolling coverage on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's two-day visit to Mauritius. Earlier today in the morning at around 6 a.m. Mauritius time, Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India arrived at the Sivo Sagar International Airport. Arrival visuals of Prime Minister Modi at Sir Sivo Sagar Ram Gulam International Airport at St. Louis at around 6 a.m. their time. He was welcomed by the Prime Minister of Mauritius, Naveen Ramgoolam, and presented a garland. Prime Minister was the Prime Minister of Mauritius was joined by his deputy and Chief Justice of Mauritius, Speaker of the National Assembly, Leader of the Opposition, Foreign Minister of Mauritius, Cabinet Secretary, Chairperson of the Grand Port District Council and many others welcoming Prime Minister. Thereafter, even the National Anthem of India was played out, part of the ceremonial welcome or reception accorded to the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. There were around 200 top dignitaries from the Mauritius government cutting across party lines and spectrum, welcoming Prime Minister Modi at St. Louis at the early hour there in Mauritius. This also included the MPs, the MLAs, the diplomatic corps and other top leadership of Prime Minister. Prime Minister of Mauritius, Mr. Naveen Ramgoolam. In fact, India shares a deep-rooted connection with Mauritius through shared heritage, through history and culture. We now also take a look at the wide-ranging India-Mauritius bilateral relationship. that was a quick insight as far as the already existing robust alignment in various sectors between India and Mauritius are concerned. And to reflect more on that, Ambassador Gurjeet Singh, former senior diplomat, continues to be with us. So is also Samir Bhattacharya, Associate Fellow RF. Ambassador Gurjeet, for the viewers who have just tuned into DD India's special broadcast, let's do a quick review of the significance of this visit, and especially this for India as a very important outreach as far as the entire African subcontinent is concerned. Well, that aspect.
Mauritius is our lead partner in the Indian Ocean, and India is the net security provider and net development provider. So, with the change of government in Mauritius, I think it was an opportune time for India and Mauritius leadership to reacquaint themselves. It is not that they don't know each other. Ram Ghulam was the Prime Minister when PM Modi was elected the first time and had participated in PM Modi's inauguration in 2014. Subsequently, he had lost the elections and Praveen Jagannath was the Prime Minister. But now that Praveen lost the elections, Ram Ghulam is back. But with Ram Ghulam's coalition, his deputy is Paul Berenger, which comes from a party of largely French-owned people. So with them, the relationship is, let's say, one step less warm than that with the Jagannath party.
Okay.
So I think this effort is to go and show that the warmth from our side is consistent, and we will abide by our friendship for Mauritius. We want Mauritius to play straight with us and remain a committed partner, and we would certainly treat them as our brother.
Okay, and yeah, that's, you know, you've put it so beautifully, and we would treat them as our brother, and the special gesture has been acknowledged by Prime Minister Modi, that the entire, almost the entire government under the leadership of Prime Minister Ram Ghulam, they're coming to the St. Louis airport and receiving Prime Minister Modi, and Prime Minister Modi in a special gesture calling him a dear friend. I think that's a relationship where both sides have addressed operates more on a reciprocity. Samir Bhattacharya?
Yeah, I think I would say that, whatever Ambassador Gurjeet Singh said, and also the reverse is also true, So just in November, this guy wins election, and what happened, I already told with Muitsu India Out campaign, with Nepal's Prime Minister Oli, who broke the tradition and went to China instead of coming to India. So this guy, after winning the election, he had a strategic choice. Mauritius has a FTA with China since 2019. So Mauritius has a very good relationship with China also. So this guy had an opportunity to show who matters, and he showed that to the world. He gave a strong message to India that you matter. In the first National Day that he is celebrating in his current state, he invited Indian PM as the chief guest. So that also shows that also give a strong message that India, you are our partner. So I think it is true from the both sides that we are the partners, and as Ambassador Gurjeet Singh said, that there was no break in this coalition. There are people from the previous party. So no matter which party wins, it is going to be a pro-India government. It is going to be a India-friendly government. That's the key message from this visit, I would say.
Of it and the deliverables that are on table, as per our reporter, there are around 8 MOUs that would be signed in crucial sectors. What do you think? Do we get to see some sort of shift in terms of elevating the already existing relationship to the next level? We do know that we have already in place some very robust convergences and cooperations, education, space. By the way, trade being a very important component, etc. Ambassador Gurjeet, and then Bhattacharya ji can also take that one. Yes.
So certainly there is the intensity of the India-Mauritius relationship is growing, and Prime Minister's visit will add to that, and all these MOUs that you talk of and the projects that they will inaugurate will show that the diversity and intensity of Indo-Mauritius relations is far more than what was 10 years ago. The second aspect is that nowadays, to maintain a developmental partnership with people, with other countries, the costs are going up because developmental demands don't cease. And there is a developmental competition with other partners. So in order to remain ahead in the game, India has to do more. You can see how we have done more in the case of Mauritius, or in Maldives, in Sri Lanka, in Bhutan, Nepal. So I think that aspect always tells that you have to do more. So I think that is where India will not be found lagging. India will do more, and except that I'm happy to see that in the developmental package, the lines of credit are more and the grants are less. And that is the way it should be for a robust economy like Mauritius.
Especially in maritime security, this visit is very crucial, sir, considering Indian Ocean region has been a talking point of late. I mean, I'm not going to take names here of any specific region.
This is the fulcrum of the Indo-Indian Ocean for us for a long time. Mauritius has been the prime focus of India's Indian Ocean policy. And then there is Seychelles. Now we treat Mauritius, Seychelles, Sri Lanka and Maldives as one. And Sagar, as you are showing on your screen now, was actually announced by Prime Minister in Mauritius, emphasizing that how Mauritius-centric our Indian Ocean policy was. But as I said earlier, that we need to use Mauritius to expand our Indian Ocean footprint, whether bilaterally through them or through IORA, and use it in the Indian Ocean littoral states, both on the African mainland and in the Indian Ocean, like Comoros, Madagascar, Seychelles in their neighborhood, and then you go on to Mozambique, Tanzania, Kenya, further up to Djibouti and the Red Sea. So I think this is very important. You know that we have very large oil and gas coal investments in Mozambique, and Mauritius is one of the stable countries nearby from where we can service that investment and perhaps even protect it. So yes, Mauritius is extremely critical to India's Indian Ocean imprint.
In your words, using Mauritius to expand the Indian Ocean expanse, that's a very interesting point that you've pointed out, Gurjeet, Ambassador Gurjeet. Samir Bhattacharya, would you like to reflect on that? Because at the end of the day, the visits normally, in a long run or a short term of it, translate into more substantive portion as far as these MOUs and the benefits that both countries are looking at.
See, as Ambassador Gurjeet Singh said, that this region is the fulcrum of Indian Ocean region. So, and this is very apparent if you look at the presence of the foreign players over there. You have US, who has their base in Diego Garcia. Few months ago, UK has their base in Chagos Island. Then you have France, which has the entire island of Réunion. Réunion Island belongs to France. It is a French island. Then you have China, which has a naval base in Djibouti. India does not believe in this this kind of naval base or anything. But India's presence, this kind of with this diaspora, with this friendly relation with Mauritius, it becomes very important for India as a fulcrum, as India's presence in that region. And also you spoke about trade, so the trade is definitely increasing, and in 2021 India signed CESPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership, a trade agreement with Mauritius. Once it is fully implemented, it is going to improve our relation, our economic relation much further. So overall, I think this message, I have been telling it again and again, that this and Ambassador Gurjeet Singh also said that Mauritius is just not a country, it's a gateway to that region. So be it Mozambique, be it South Africa, be it that Mozambique channel, from that region we have a lot of trade which is going on, we have a lot of investment in that region. So this visit in Mauritius is a message to that region that India is an important player in that region. India is a net security provider, India is a net development provider, and India is a net friendly country in that region.
These are our interests that we are looking at, but what about the reciprocity here? Ambassador Gurjeet, for Mauritius, how important is India under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, strategically speaking?
So, for one thing, the entire petroleum requirements of Mauritius are met by India.
Okay.
So, I mean, that is the kind of support that we offer. And they have never suffered at any time due to shortages, because we have kept our commitments to them. So, like this, there are many things on which, so the spiritual aspect of most Mauritians is to engage with India. The economic aspects of infrastructure, of petroleum, energy is all linked to India. But it is in the open strategic space that sometimes Mauritius tries its luck and plays off India versus other competitors in the region. In the past, they used to do it with the United States, the UK and France. But today, those countries are all India's partners in the region. Samir mentioned reunion. So reunion is available to India for activities in the Indian Ocean. The Indian Navy can work in reunion due to our agreement with the French. So we are on a good wicket with the United States, with France and the UK in the region, and also Japan, which is more operating in the northern Indian Ocean. But it is China which is a greater threat to us, and we want to make sure that Mauritius and the other countries in the region don't try and do what Maldives and Sri Lanka tried to do, which is play off India against China. Now, what does this mean? If you want economic assistance, you want trade and investment from China, I don't think India has any problem. But make sure that Indian companies have a level playing field. And secondly, don't give China access to strategic assets and defense agencies so that they can in any way threaten India's interest or security. I think those two red lines is something that Mauritius needs to understand clearly.
Have we sent out the right signals, Ambassador Gurjeet, in that sense?
I believe we have, and I think the warmth with which Mr. Ram Ghulam is today receiving Prime Minister.
The whole of the government approach, as you put it.
The whole of government approach. I think this is different from the earlier Ram Ghulam regime. So,
okay. All right. Well, interesting. Samir ji, your take. You agree this whole of the government approach by Ram Ghulam is an underlying signal in sharp contrast to, like Ambassador Gurjeet pointed out, the earlier Ram Ghulam approach?
No, definitely a lot of things have changed. He was not really anti-India per se, but yeah, the way he's this kind of reception was really unprecedented. And I think to some extent, very few know that. Ambassador Gurjeet Singh told it already. When the COVID happened, he was actually critically ill. He was flown to AIIMS Trauma Center. He was admitted in ICU. He got well, and he officially thanked India for saving his life. So I think that thing that thing changed probably his attitude towards India. And also,
Like
see,
they say, change of
every
heart.
country works for their national interests. So Mauritius is no different. I mean, the guy has owned a very strong mandate, and definitely China is a very important player for them, for development partner for Mauritius. So China has an FTA with Mauritius. China has Mauritius is third African country to, no, not third, probably the second African country to have a renminbi clearance center in Bank of Mauritius. So they have a very good relationship with China. That does not matter. They should have good relationship with all the other countries in the world. As long as our interest, as long as our bilateral relationship is not impacted due to the question or due to the external pressure, we are fine with that. And this is the message we have been giving, that we are your partner, we have been your partner, we will remain your partner. You keep your relationship, your national interest in mind, but don't undermine ours.
Yes. Don't undermine our national interests or compromise our national interests. Ambassador Gurjeet and Samir Bhattacharya, I'll request you to stay with us, because we have been talking so much also about the cultural aspect and the civilizational footprints and the cultural linkages. We want to show our viewers this report, and then we go back to our panelists. During his visit, Prime Minister Modi will also be visiting Ganga Talao, which is also known as Grand Basin. This is a place which is revered as Mauritius's most significant Hindu pilgrimage site, symbolizing the Ganges River of India, or the Ganga River of India. The holy waters of Ganga Talao were infused with water from the Ganges River way back in 1972 on your screens. This is a lake which is surrounded by temples dedicated to Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesha and Lord Hanuman. The Shiva temple at Ganga Talao is believed to be the 13th Jyotirling, also known as Mauritius Ishwarnath Jyotirling, according to local legend. And this was established way back in 1897 by Pandit Jumman Giri. During the visit of India's President Draupadi Murmu to Mauritius in 2024, it was announced that the government of India will support the redevelopment of the Ganga Talao complex into a religious, cultural and tourist hub. DD India's Akshay Dongre spoke with the trustee and the caretaker of the sacred lake in Mauritius on the significance of Ganga Talao.
We are currently at Ganga Talab in Mauritius, one of the most revered spiritual and religious sites. And to talk about how this place is significant, we also have Mr. Satish Dayal with us. Sir, thank you so much for speaking with us. There is a lot of interest as far as the Ganga Talab is concerned. Many people also consider the temple here as the 13th Jyotirlinga as well in India too. So as the Prime Minister is arriving here in Mauritius, there is a lot of interest as far as India is concerned, and in the world as well, that these kind of places exist in Mauritius. So can you tell us about the significance of this Ganga Talab?
The Ganga Talab is a very important place, spiritually revered place, as you mentioned it. It is a Tirthistan, a place of pilgrimage too. And recently it has been declared as a heritage, spiritual heritage too. For the Hindu, it is a great symbol.
Right.
It is a great symbol because Ganga Talab is a sacred lake. In spite of being a sacred lake, it's a volcanic lake too. And it is a natural lake.
Right.
For Hindu, it is a great symbolism, this lake itself. The two things at Ganga Talab is very important. One is the lake itself. Secondly, the world 13th Jyotirlinga is here. The 12 Jyotirlinga in India, it is the only one which is outside India. And it is considered as the main temple of the country. And very often we used to experience miraculous happenings. And the temple is very, very famous all throughout the world.
You heard all the significance of this Ganga Talab, and like Mr. Dayal has explained to us in so many words, that how special and pious this lake is, and how Mauritius is perhaps the only country outside India that has a Jyotirlinga as well. With camera person Ajit Kumar, I'm Akshay Dongre, DD India.
So the other aspect that makes this relationship all right, arrival shots of Prime Minister Modi first on your screens, DD India, at his resort Let's hear the audio. All right. Resounding welcome by the members of the Indian diaspora at St. Louis in Mauritius. Prime Minister Modi, they're always that personal touch when it comes to the diaspora, cutting across all age groups. There you have Indian diaspora members coming to the resort at the early hours there in Mauritius to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And also, as we stay with these visuals, let's also have guests talking about the little India. And yes, that is beautiful. Swagat hai Modi ji, aapka swagat karte hai. We were earlier, Ambassador Gurjeet, talking about very strong civilizational footprints, and India Mauritius, sharing that strong cultural connect, especially the people from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, since generations who have settled there. Actually, if you look at these visuals, it looks like it's a mini India itself. Ambassador Gurjeet.
It is indeed a mini India, as you said.
Yes.
And, though the original people came from Puducherry, many more from Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Eastern UP, with whom they maintained strong links.
Yes. Right.
And now, the new generation is a little more Western oriented, mainly due to their economic well-being.
Right.
But India, through its scholarship program and what is called the No India program, which are short-term visits to India, has actually reconnected with Mauritian youth, I think, quite admirably.
Okay.
And I think I saw your statistic, 385 people have been to India under the No India program.
Because, and nearly 70% of the island's population of 1.3 million constitute Indian diaspora. I think that's a huge chunk. We need to wrap up this cycle of special broadcast here. I would like to thank Ambassador Gurjeet and also Sameer Bhattacharya for joining us and examining the significance of this relationship. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much, both of you. We take a short break here. Yes, we take a short break here. News and updates continue on your channel, DT India. Please stay with us. And of course, we'll continue to track Prime Minister Narendra Modi's two-day visit to Mauritius. Stay with us.